Good morning. Welcome to Monday morning meeting with myself. This week is the perfect week. It's one of those beautiful weeks. You know, it's the old Goldilocks week, not too hot, not too cold. Just the perfect week where feels like the right amount of everything, which doesn't happen that often, does it? Weeks are either a bit hectic or, a little bit slow. So today I'm helping my daughter shift. She's moving into a new house, which is very exciting, a new flat. And so I love the idea of this. We just get to organise stuff into a new space. Like, what's better than a new space, right? So I'm really excited about spending the day just pottering around with her and all of her bits and bobs, setting up little zones, getting the space right. So curating spaces and making spaces beautiful is one of my favourite things to do. I love setting up little zones. I've actually spent all of yesterday helping a friend shift, so I'm in a shifting zone at the moment. Don't know what's going on. Everyone's doing that kind of shifting and cleaning out and organising, I think, for the end of the year. So yeah, shifting. So that's a big day. So I've been preparing food. I'm off. I'm like little Red Riding Hood, heading off with a basket. I'm mother of the fucking year, I tell you. I've got the chicken, I've got the bread, I've got the buns, I've got all the stuff so that we've got the food because, I feel like as the mother, it's my job. So I am catering lunch because these young people, they won't have thought about that, will they? They'll get hangry, they'll get grumpy, they won't have food in the house because they won't have thought about that. They won't be able to find anything. So I thought, well, look at me being Little Red Riding Hood with my basket. So that's exciting. So that's good. Then I've got a bit of a trip to Auckland, a little bit of travel. So I'm just got to do some packing. Got to do some packing now because on tomorrow morning I've got to head to Auckland to speak to a glorious bunch of people up there at a big conference, which makes me super happy. Super happy. Lots of meetings and things Thursday, so not a lot going on Thursday. That's very interesting, but lots of the jobs. The meetings and the jobs. So I've got a bit of that to do. And then I've got a friend's birthday on Friday. So I've got a few things to get done. But one of my favourite parts of my Monday morning meeting is in my big fat purpose planner. Each week I have a page dedicated to kind of intentions for the week. And I like to do a little bit of a reflection on how the last week has gone. And I have these categories that I go through. So I go through these categories and just do a wee spot check because what I've noticed in life is we get very busy and I find the important things don't get done, right? The important things like family and health and the really big things that we say we care so much about, but they don't appear in our lives on a daily or weekly level. So we're like, oh yes, the most important thing for me is my health. Really? How are you showing that? Where is that in your world? How do we see that that's important? And someone said to me years ago, you should open someone's diary and see what their priorities are. And so often the things we say are important. You say, my partner's very important. My health's very important, right? My diet's very important. But there's nothing in your diary, planner, or world that actually shows that. Nothing showing that that's where your attention is. So I like to go through and check out, things like food. And I have a little chat with myself and go, little meeting, part of my meeting, how's my food going? What's your food intention? So every time of year, this time of year, I start thinking, shit, the weather's getting warmer, right? The clothes are coming off and I should probably just step into a little bit of lighter eating. I try and get ready for the barbecue season. What am I doing? So at the moment, I'm not a very good salad person. I call myself leaf intolerant. Leaf intolerant. I told someone once that in a restaurant. I said, I'm actually leaf intolerant. And she totally missed my attempt at humour and said, oh, I didn't know that was a thing. I'm like, well, okay, I just don't like eating fucking leaves. I get bored. So I'm always trying to find interesting salads. Now, the most interesting thing I've eaten for a long time, I ate on Friday with my friend Andrew. The most incredible salad. And so in my attempt at the moment, my intention, I've rated myself only about a 5 out of 10 for food because I've dropped the ball on eating. I've eaten too many carbs. I've been a wee bit naughty. I've been a bit busy and just nibbling on naughty things. Bit too much shit lying around the house, the chocolates, the nibbly bits, right? So I'm thinking, right, enough, Lisa. Get back into the raw game. Up your veggies. And my friend Andrew made me this incredibly simple but divine salad. Raw cabbage, green apple, Greek yogurt, and a handful of toasted seeds. Oh my God. So you shred up your cabbage, slice all that really thin. No one wants a lazy cabbage cutter, do they? We want nice, very, very finely shredded, not just chunked up. I want very delicately shredded, like Japanese style cabbage. Juliennes of little green apple. So just slice your green apple very thin, slice them into little matchsticks, squeeze a bit of lemon juice over that, huff it in with the cabbage, then a handful of seeds. I've always got toasted seeds. My house looks like, some birds live here. I love seeds. So, sesame, poppy, sunflower, pumpkin, whatever you like, toasted. I like them toasted. And I sprinkle them over, and then a big dollop of Greek yogurt. Oh my God, it's a party in your mouth. It's a party in your mouth. It's cheap, it's cheerful, it's fast, it's yummy. That's my kind of food. So it's my food focus. Hydration, I've given myself a 4. I've been a bit stiff and sore, and I haven't been looking after my water intake. So I've got the big Frank drink bottle out, filling that up, getting ready. I've got that out on the bench ready already for the week because I have to. I've made a bit of a a pledge to myself that I shall be travelling with Frank this week. Frank and I will be hydrated together because you can't be old. The difference between a grape and a raisin is water. And as we get older, we turn into fucking raisins, don't we? So we don't want to be a raisin. We want to be a grape. So this week I'm getting hydrated. I think that's good. Checking on my head. My head's pretty good at the moment. I've had a bit of a declutter of my beliefs. So I always go food, hydration, head, health. Head's quite good, feeling reasonably clear, got some exciting new projects. When I have exciting new things happening, new browsers open up, I find like there's a new room opened in the back of my brain. So I've got some exciting new rooms, very exciting things I can't tell you about yet, but are happening next year that are amazing. And I'm working on those. Overall health, feeling pretty good. When I check with health, I always think, what's the appointment I haven't made? There always seems to be something we haven't done. And I'm like, what is the appointment you haven't made? So I need a skin check. I've got to go and redo my, the scabby wee bits of skin and the bits and pieces. Getting the skin check is always a good thing to do pre-summer. So that's the appointment I need to get onto. So that's under my little health heading. Fitness, well, I've been doing quite well. Been watching a documentary on Netflix about octogenarians, people who live till they're 100. And it's bloody fascinating, right? Fascinating. And it covers a couple of different regions in these what they call blue zones where people live remarkably well for a very long time. So not just being old, but doing old well, right? If you're going to be old, want to be old and well. Right. And one of the things that's really interesting is one of the parts of Japan, an island in Japan that's featured in this documentary, talks about all of these people. They don't have much furniture. So they spend all of their time getting up and down off the floor, all of their time moving around. So the core strength that develops when you're up and down. So for the last week, Mark and I have not been sitting on the couch. We've been getting up and down off the floor, watching TV on the floor, sitting on the floor, stretching our legs, stretching out, working on flexibility and things while we're watching the telly, while we're sitting around, instead of slumping on the couch, being all collapsed, like a collapsed pav in the middle. So trying to get the pav to sit up straight, that's been a thing. So on a fitness level, I've been doing a lot of stretching and a lot of sort of really conscious posturing and getting up and down off the floor without using my hands. It's my favourite thing at the moment. See if you can sit down on the floor, cross your arms, sit down on the floor, now stand back up again without putting your hands down. Bloody hell. It's a good exercise in balance. It's good for your brain, right? It's good for your body. It works your core. It makes you use your bum and your thighs. And it's quite hard. Do that 4 or 5 times a day. Tell you, no need to go to the gym. Just get up and down off the floor. Get stuck, fall over. It's quite fun. So that's been my kind of fitness vibe. The children, I always like to consider the children. What do they need? What do they want? What are they up to? What is the focus of their week, right? So what's going on in all 4 of them? So even though my children, 3 of them are kind of adults now, but they still need stuff, don't they? They still want stuff. What is their focus of the week? What's going on for them? What are they doing? I've got a son doing NCEA exams, so just helping him to stay bloody focused and do the prep, which is important. What do they need? What's going on in their worlds? What are they doing that they need help with and support with? So I always like to write down each of my 4 children's names and just put a wee note underneath about what do they need, what are they up to. And then, what's going on at work? What do I need to do? What are the big things? I always have 4 focuses for each week. So, what am I doing? What am I thinking about? And what am I selling? What events have I got coming up? What things, retreats? I've got all kinds of stuff. So I'm preparing at the moment for my Repotted retreat, which is very exciting and only about 10 days away. So preparing for Repotted, getting all of the collaterals, the bits and bobs, the little treats ready for all the women who are coming to be repotted in the Coromandel. That's exciting. So I've got a big week focusing on that. Couple of big presentations to nail. So that's exciting. And then I get to friends and family. So what's happening in my friends' world? I've got a couple of birthdays this week, so I love a good birthday. I like a present and a card. I'm also thinking about my top 10. Who are the people that have featured strongly this year and how do I want to honour them for Christmas? That's a big thing for the end of year. And then family, what's happening in the family? So a couple of things going on in the family at the moment, just interested in whether that's a domestic chore, whether that's an emotional support piece, whether they need a conversation, whether they need a hand, a physical lift with something. What's happening with friends and family? Because I think if we don't stay on this all the time, it's very easy to wake up and go, oh my God, I haven't seen so-and-so for 3 months. I haven't been in touch with her for a year. I haven't talked to them for ages. And we just forget. We get so busy in doing the boring stuff. The dishwasher, the bullshit that just takes up every day instead of the really important stuff. So I think the most important stuff is obviously keeping me going, me physically going, me mentally going. So the food, the hydration, how's my head? What's the stuff I need to do proactively for my health? And then the people, because that's really, I think, all that matters, isn't it, really? So I think they're the big things. They're the big things that are happening in my week this week. When I turn into my, I love in my planner, I have a quote every week. And today's quote from Cher, the famous Cher, who does a very good job of looking bloody stunning at her age, isn't it? Take a deep breath and don't take any of it too seriously. Take a deep breath and don't take any of it too seriously. I think she's right. I think if you learn anything as you get older, what matters, right? What does it really matter? There's so much that doesn't matter. And one of my favourite sayings is honour everything, but know that nothing matters. So what are you doing in honouring? So in honouring for me, I'm buying beautiful birthday cards and finding perfect wrapping suggestions. Like I'm wrapping my friend's present in a really cool tea towel, a beautiful tea towel I found for her in an art gallery that's actually a beautiful gift in itself, but I'm using it as the wrapping. She is very environmentally friendly and will appreciate the fact that I have given her something reusable as the wrapping paper, because that shows that I have considered her in this. I haven't just bought something and wrapped it up in some nasty bit of landfill. She'll be over the moon that I've thought that through, right? So honouring things, honouring the things that are on in my children's lives, whether I think they're important or not, doesn't matter. It's what do they think is important. Honouring my clients, making sure that I've got really relevant current material for the events I'm speaking at. But at the end of the day, knowing that nothing really matters. Nothing really matters. And I use that all the time when I get stressed. I think, does it really matter? I spend all this time planning, all this time in my meetings with myself, doing the honouring. But at the end of the day, if shit goes wrong, and it's going to because we're humans, does it matter? So there might be something in your world right now that you're just going, oh my God, and it really feels like it matters, but it may not. So just think about that and think, well, imagine if I just couldn't do that tomorrow, would it matter? Right? So I've got this big conference this week and I'm going, oh, that really matters. Now, if Air New Zealand stops flying and I can't fly on Tuesday and I couldn't go to my event, do you know what? They'll be fine. The event will be fine. Life will go on. No one is that important and nothing matters. So I think that's a nice little final word from Cher. Take a deep breath. Don't take anything too seriously. I'm going to go and pack my suitcase because I've got a lot of stuff to get in my bag because I don't know what I want to wear. Haven't thought about that yet. But that's my meeting. So I've got to make some appointments. I've got some things organised. I've got to pack my bag. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.